The screen fades in on a quiet English village at night. The camera shakes as if held by someone running. We hear heavy breathing, then suddenly, the distant toll of a church bell. The problem? That bell has been sealed for over 200 years. The man holding the camera whispers, "It's ringing. Oh God, it's ringing." The sound grows louder, impossibly loud, until the footage cuts to black. A narrator's voice breaks in. This is the story of the witch's bell of Lancashire, and why no one dares to wake it. Lancashire, Northern England, a land already infamous for witch trials and folk curses. In the small parish of St. Mary's, an ancient church stands abandoned. The tower is tall but cracked, ivy crawling up its stone face. Inside, hidden behind heavy iron chains, rests the witch's bell. For centuries, villagers have claimed the bell is cursed. Not just a relic, but a weapon forged in sound. One that only rings when death follows. Historical records trace the curse back to the year 1712, 100 years after the famous Pendle witch trials. During a brutal winter, a woman named Agnes Wren was accused of witchcraft. Before her execution, she screamed at the villagers gathered around the church, "When your holy bell tolls, your blood shall pay the price." Witnesses swore the bell tolled by itself as she burned. Days later, 3 villagers who had condemned her were found dead. Terrified, the clergy chained the bell. For decades, no one touched it. But strange reports continued. People walking by the church at night swore they heard faint ringing. Priests described waking in the night to phantom tolls echoing across the fields. In 1784, one vicar tried to destroy the bell, but he collapsed inside the tower, dead of a heart attack. His final sermon warned, "This bell is not of God." By the 1800s, the bell's reputation grew darker. Whenever someone in the village was near death, people claimed they heard the sound of one toll. Sometimes the person died within hours. The bell became known as the death knell. Villagers locked the church permanently and bricked up the door. Yet, farmers working nearby insisted the sound carried across the hills. No one dared investigate. In 1897, a group of railway workers restoring tracks near the village stayed overnight in a nearby barn. One of them wrote in his journal about hearing the bell at 3:12 a.m. The next morning, one worker was found dead, his face frozen in terror. That journal was recovered and remains in the local archive, the final written proof of the bell before the modern era. For decades, silence. The church rotted into ruin, and the village population dwindled. Locals began to treat the bell as folklore, just another witch story. But a few researchers whispered that the silence was worse than the ringing. They believed the bell had simply grown patient, waiting for those foolish enough to disturb it. By the 1970s, with ghost hunting and paranormal TV on the rise, thrill seekers came looking for the bell. Teenagers dared each other to sneak into the church. Some claimed to hear faint metallic groans from the tower. Others reported nightmares for weeks afterward. In one case, a young man returned home muttering about a woman's voice whispering inside the bell. He was later institutionalized. An amateur filmmaker from Manchester recorded the first known footage of the bell. His VHS tape shows the chained, dust-covered metal blackened as if scorched. As he pans the camera, a faint toll is heard on the audio, though none of his friends heard it at the time of recording. Weeks later, he was killed in a car accident. Locals pointed to the tape as proof that the bell chooses its victims. A team of historians from Lancaster University applied for permission to study the bell. The church committee refused, citing local sensitivities. But leaked documents show they broke in anyway. Their notes, found years later, described electromagnetic spikes around the tower and unexplained resonant vibrations inside the stone walls. The lead researcher went missing in the Pennine Hills soon after. His body was never found. In the early 2000s, a ghost hunting group tried to live stream from inside the church. They taunted the bell, demanding it ring. Viewers reported hearing a faint toll at exactly midnight on the stream. But inside the church, the hunters laughed, claiming nothing happened. Within a week, 2 members died in unrelated accidents. The channel disappeared from the internet, their tapes confiscated by police. By 2010, the witch's bell had become internet folklore. Online forums debated whether it was a hoax, a ghost story, or a cursed artifact. Some YouTubers claimed they would be the first to capture the bell that rings itself. Few ever followed through. The church was considered too dangerous, the curse too well documented. Still, whispers grew louder. The bell was not finished. 3 university students from Preston documented their visit to the ruined church. Their phones recorded hours of footage, but the last 12 minutes remained the most chilling. At first, laughter and exploration. Then, silence. One whispers, "Did you hear that?" A faint toll echoes. Panic sets in. The camera catches one final scream before everything cuts to static. Police found the phones, but never the bodies. Over the years, a handful of people claimed to survive encounters with the bell. A farmer said he heard it ring once while in his field. The next day, his livestock were found dead. A woman passing the church at dusk heard the bell toll twice. Within 2 weeks, both her parents died unexpectedly. Survivors insist it's not imagination. The bell chooses who pays. In 2020, paranormal investigators returned, equipped with thermal cameras and sound meters. They reported unusual fluctuations in frequency near the tower, as if the bell resonated without moving. One member caught faint whispers on audio, a woman's voice repeating, "Ring it, ring it." The footage leaked online but was quickly removed after the team refused to discuss it further. Villagers today say the bell tolls when the wind howls strongest. They describe the sound as metal underwater, distorted but undeniable. Some claim it follows them home, ringing in their dreams. Others warn that speaking too much of it invites attention. The church remains chained and watched, but no one dares step inside. A drone operator flew a camera over the church tower. On the recording, the bell visibly swayed once, though no wind was present. Seconds later, the drone's battery drained, crashing into the ground. When the operator retrieved it, the footage was corrupted except for one frame, a blurred face reflected on the bell's surface. Skeptics argue the stories are superstition mixed with coincidence. They say heart attacks, accidents, and deaths are natural in old villages. Yet, even they admit the consistency of the bell legend is unusual. Paranormal experts warn that cursed objects often hide in plain sight, feeding not on faith, but on fear itself. Locals insist the bell is alive in some sense, waiting. They call it a vessel for Agnes Wren's spirit, forever punishing the village that betrayed her. Some refuse to speak her name. Others say the church itself has grown twisted, walls bending to contain the resonance of a sound that should not exist. During a violent storm, multiple villagers reported hearing the bell toll 3 times. That same week, 3 unexplained deaths occurred: a child in his sleep, a farmer in his barn, and a traveler on the road. For many, it confirmed what they had always feared. The witch's bell had awakened again. Clips of the witch's bell circulate on TikTok and YouTube. Most are fakes, but a few carry an unsettling authenticity. Users comment they heard faint tolls through their speakers, even with headphones off. Some swear their phones glitched as if struck by a shockwave of sound. The curse, it seems, has gone digital. In 2023, a new wave of thrill seekers began planning to unseal the bell for clout. Locals begged them not to. Some believe if the chains are broken, the bell will toll freely. Not just for individuals, but for the entire region. The group never uploaded their promised video. Their car was found abandoned 10 miles away. Elders of the village speak of the bell in hushed tones. They warn outsiders never to film it, never to say Agnes Wren's name inside the tower, and above all, never to wish to hear it. Because once you wish, the toll will follow. And when it does, nothing can stop what comes next. The documentary closes with recovered audio. A field microphone placed outside the church during a storm recorded a single, clear toll. It reverberates unnaturally, echoing for minutes. As the sound fades, a whisper overlays the audio. Your turn. The screen fades to black. A final note reads, "The witch's bell of Lancashire remains sealed to this day. But locals swear, when the wind is right, it still rings." If you love real horror, true mysteries, and stories the world tries to forget, subscribe to Fear Diaries. Every week, we uncover another terrifying case. Join us before the next one finds you. Thank you for watching Fear Diaries, The Witch's Bell of Lancashire. More cursed places, unsolved paranormal cases, and chilling true stories are waiting here. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell, because the next story might be darker than this one.